Hi, and welcome to Work It's Personal with me, Rowan Hammond, where we explore personal journeys to leadership and where our future of work is really headed. I recently caught up with Nick Deeks, who for the past 10 years has been Australia and New Zealand's Managing Director and also co-international chairman of award-winning property cost management consultancy, WT Partnership. I really hope you enjoy Nick's personal insights and candid nature. And so how did your leadership sort of tenure come about? How did you sort of work your way into that role? I mean, I know people don't just give you these things, and sometimes people don't even pull you into those locations,
they
right?
Don't. They don't. Sometimes it's a little bit of a bloodbath.
Yes.
Sometimes it's the last man standing.
Was that the case for you?
Well, it was a kind of bit of both. Mm-hmm. There was a kind of bit of both in there. Not everyone has aspiration to be there. So as it gets closer, the sort of field gets thinned out a little bit more. And I think it was maybe 2011 or something. Ron had called us in one of the board meetings and just said, right, I'm thinking about stepping down in a couple of years. Who thinks they're up for doing the MD role? And there may have been 6 of us that put our hand up out of 20, maybe 7. 2 were told immediately to sit down.
Right.
And the rest of us, just off the cuff, had to chat to the whole board.
Right. In an open forum.
In an open forum about why we wanted to do it. We hadn't even been prepped for it.
Did you throw your hand up? Did you know that's what you wanted to do?
I threw my hand up, of course.
Yeah. Energetically. You did not begrudgingly.
Yeah. Then we had to just, it was literally, we were just in a meeting and said, I'm going to step down. Who wants to be managing director next? And why? Stand up and tell everybody.
Had you thought about it?
No, didn't even know about it.
Right.
Didn't know it was coming. It was completely...
Did you respond well?
Completely left field. Well, I don't know. Obviously responded well enough to...
Yes, you got the job.
Got through. Yeah, but it wasn't quite as straightforward as that. And he'd been looking at... what had he been watching? It was a bit like Donald Trump's The Apprentice at the time.
Oh, right, okay.
So we were put through a little series of tests and it was whittled down to 3 of us. And... you had to come up with a few little tasks and projects and bits and pieces.
And what was the defining characteristic for you, do you think, that landed you the job?
What actually happened is, out of the 3 of us, we then had a load of psychometric testing and some other analysis, and then we had an external party advising, and then Tim in Melbourne was given the gig. But I think it was kind of unfairly given to Tim. I don't think Ron really wanted to let go of it at that point in time, and there were some issues happening with our international businesses, and there was a lot of politics going on, and things really conspired against Tim, and Ron hammered him to the point where we'd kind of almost had this separation of our Melbourne business, and we'd lost our Asian business, and it was all another one of those sliding door moments. It was very close to the whole business just falling into a pile of rubble. Wow. And we had to step up and try and stop the damage that was happening and try and put the foundations back together over here, and there was only a couple of us that were left doing that, and then that just became who still got the energy, who can keep going when there was this political infighting that was just happening, and everyone was getting corralled and cajoled to vote for and against, and it was just a nightmare.
And so what did your leadership stand for at that point? What were you looking to achieve?
I was just trying to, at that point in time, I was trying to reunite the business and make sure that we still had a business, because it was potentially going to be carved off into separate bits. And we're 72 years old now. This was 2012, so we were 62 years. It was a successful business. We were hocked up to our eyeballs in debt and commitment from equity. So we had a lot to fight for, and really it kind of came down to Phil and I just still going. And there was a defining moment when we had an emergency meeting held, or an EGM held, where we had to go in and stand up against 2 very strong, oppressive existing leaders. And I remember sitting at home and chatting to Jane and said, look, I can't do it. I'm going to go in tomorrow. And if it doesn't go this way, I'm out. And if I'm out, that means we've got to sell the house. We've got to sell the apartment. Jess has got to come out of school. We've got to sell. We've got nothing. We've got nothing, right? Are you prepared to give everything up? Because we were geared up to the eyeballs. and said, you've got to do it for your own health and safety and mental well-being. And so we went in, and I'd done all the politicking the night before and phoned around everybody around the country and thought we had our position, and we came into this meeting, and yeah, we were there prepared to just kind of jack it in, and we stood up, we had to stand up, and it may seem unusual to even be able to say that, but when you've got a very dominant leader, you look at him as though he's like 10 foot tall, and you've got to stand up and just hold your ground, right, against a bully.
Absolutely,
and a lot of the time you don't do it, but when you get pushed and you're back into a corner, you just go, you know what, I've got nothing to lose now, I've got to do it. And that's kind of what happened.
Yep.
And then it went around the table, and they said, well, okay, so the only person left that can be the MD, and this was a guy in Perth actually said it, Tom Connor, said is Nick. And I was in there, so I'd gone into this meeting prepared to resign and lose everything. And that's in my head, just going, oh my God, that's it, I'm back, my life's gone. And I came out of that meeting, I phoned James, like, how did it go? I was like, you're not going to believe it. I said, what's happened? I said, I'm MD.
You can stay in the house a bit longer, but now it's over to me.
Unpack again.